Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been a little while. Way too much happening. Way too much happening. Okay, I've opened this, but only because it's really hard. I haven't looked at it. This is last month's Uniquely Creative card making kit, and I am so bad because this is this month's. So this is May, this is April. What can I say? Alright, so let's have a look because it takes too long otherwise. Alright. So April. Because I'm so bad. This is just my little tax invoicey thing. So this is the kit. So it's called Tapestry of Time. So it's quite pretty. It's quite pretty. Alright. This is what we've got into it. It seems to be my colours, you know, the browns, even though there's a bit of pink in there, the browns and that sort of thing. So until recently, they've had squares or something in there. He's not attached. I'm sure he's not attached. We'll hide him if he is anyway. Square envelopes, but now they've brought out the rectangle ones. So these are the Australian, you never know, they could be an oops, who knows, but no, an Aussie card base. So these are, what are these, A6 size, so it's A5 is half of a A4, cut in half and then folded brings it to A6. So we've got some little embellishments, mint. They're almost like, I don't know whether you can see that, but they're not opaque. They're sort of a bit translucent, a bit iridescent, so they're very pretty. Some nice little satin ribbon. We'll have a look. Uniquely Creative usually has an A4 pack of card parts, which then works with their dies, which this is Uniquely Creative. So they have that one, but they also have somewhere this one. So I keep it in with a stamp set with this one, but if you haven't seen me do these before, you just got to find which way these suckers go. The holes match up and you can run that through and you have all these die cut out. So these are the longer sentiment strips, obviously, and that's the shorter one. So yeah, normally you get like 4 in a whole pack. The papers, so Australia, if you didn't quite realise and you're overseas, I'm Australian. So let's try and quickly go through these. They are single-sided. Let's just rotate that around because that will annoy me. So they're very vintagey, lots of letters. One little cut apart, we will take him out. Well, it's not just one, there is more. That's pretty. Very nice. Another one to cut out. Little dominoes, roses. So there should be 2 of each. I've just got to find the beginning. So you get 2 sheets of each of these. There goes my phone, sorry. 2 sheets of each of these, so they're all cut out, little tags and everything else, and a little bit of fussy cutting. Sorry again. And so these are all going to be repeated again. So they're really pretty. Okay, so next, make some room. These are the creative cuts. I'll just quickly go through some of these, I think. So lots of little labels, little bits and pieces, little tags, more labels, some more florally, cutty banners, making memories, good times. Thank you. Huge thinking of you. So for some quick and easy cards, really, some of these bigger sentiments would be just like, wham bam, thank you ma'am. Coffee, ice cream, more flowers. Another little, oh, it's a key. Little frame. Lest we forget, so Anzac Day is in April. So that's Australian and New Zealand Armed Forces. And it all goes to Gallipoli, which obviously more than just Australian and New Zealand forces went there, but this is very clearly like Anzac themed. Lots of banners, happy birthday, memories. Oh dear. Someone needs to remember to put her phone on silent before. So some frames, and then inside the frames obviously you've got other little, lest we forget, things to add to it. So that's all the creative cuts. One more thing. Wherever I put it, they have an inspirational sheet. So you've got all these cards. So there's actually 7 in them this time. But you've got this great big massive sheet here that you can work off. I've taken these kits away to camps and just did these cards, and then did my own cards with the rest of the things. So you get more than just these 6 cards out of. So you get lots more little bits and pieces. And I've just sat there and I've fussy carded and stuck and stick and had a ball. So I was thinking today I've got a new fusion card challenge coming up, which I will try and find where the sheet of paper is. And so I thought we might use this on this kit on a fusion card challenge, and we'll make one of those. So that is the theory behind. So no, we won't do this one just yet. This one is my little sneak peek. Moody Blues. So we'll do that one. We'll do that one. Hopefully we'll do that one very, very soon. So yeah, I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so I've cut my little heart out. I've cut all the little papers and all the bits and pieces. And so now it is time to play. We're only going to make 2 cards. But as you'll see at the end, there's so much more to play with. I tend to just sit there and cut and cut, 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 and cut. So we've cut a little strip of this paper which had the Australian map on it, and we've cut it down to about 4 centimeters, and we've cut these other 2 strips as well, but I'm not going to use the blue. So this is the Fusion Card Challenge one that I mentioned. This is the correct one. So it goes live from the 12th of May, and it will be live for 2 weeks, and then we'll give you another little inspiration. So I've said it before, but we're going to say it again. The Fusion Card Challenge, you have the image, you have a sketch, and you have the inspiration photo, and you can do one, you can do the other, or you can fuse it together and do both. So yeah, my head's going to get in the way a couple of times. I'm getting used to my new camera setup, but you know, so we just sort of trim that off. That's just flat onto the card base. I've used a little bit of walnut stain. I don't know, I was trying to figure out how much to do, but we're just gonna eyeball it. So I'm going to cut this down to 8 centimeters, and then when I figure myself out, wait for it, right here, I'm going to cut it in half again, which is what I should have done in the first place, but I don't know. The
sketch that we have has this, it's a very pretty plain and little simple sketch actually. It just has this strip with 4 little squares. But what I'm going to do is play around with that a little bit. So we're not going to keep it straight, like just 4 squares. We're going to do it up a little bit. So these little 4x4 centimeter panels are going to be raised up. Obviously, I'm going to do that to both of them. As I said, I've now gone around all the pieces in the walnut stain, which is just the Distress ink. And it's the only large ink pad of the Distress inks that I have actually. All the other ones are small, or my oxides are big, of course. So that's all raised down. So these are actually some of the ones that I've already trimmed out, and we're going to just play around and just put these down and trim these up a little bit. That had a little bit of a stem on it, so we trimmed him off. And these are actually some of the ones that I've cut off the sheet of paper. The ones that are straight up in the top right hand corner, they're the ones that are the creative cuts that have already been laser cut sort of thing. So this one I'm really going to trim it off and wait, there will be more that will be trimmed up as well. So we've cut that little, it's a little butterfly, that bit right there, that's a little butterfly. So we're going to trim that in half. So I'm just trying to get the most out of my little die cuts. It's just sometimes you just need little bits sticking out. So that's what we've done. So now we've got all these sentiments. The only one that I really liked for this particular layout is going to be the Good Times. It's just nice and thin, and the other ones are great. They're going to be used. I'll use them. And as I mentioned previously, I do take these away. Sometimes I just take the whole kit. Sometimes this time, obviously, I'm going to take sort of half a kit, or not half a kit. It's more than half a kit. It's like there is so much still left, and I will zoom out on my camera towards just before I sign off, and I'll show you how much is left over. I mean, literally, I've used 2 sheets of paper, because this one's minuscule. The next one is pretty much going to be one of these papers used again, with some other little bits and pieces. So there is so much that's going to keep me occupied at camp, which I go away in June, is my next camp. So I've got a lot to keep me busy. I'm just putting a little bit of foam dots right in the center just to support my Good Times, because we've got the foam mounted panels. So every now and then I'm just going to check on where I'm sort of sitting, if I need a little bit more, or really I could put a little bit on the G for the Good Times and sort of the very end of the S, but I'm not going to worry about that. Life's too short. It's going to be just fine. I'm mostly using a little bit of multi-matte medium today for my smaller pieces. Yep, my hair's going to get in the way a little bit, only because I need to make sure it's nice and straight. We're just going to add a little bit of pressure just to make sure he's stuck down. I will come back in and put a little bit more glue on my swirl of the tea. Like the last little bit, we've got our mint rhinestones. They call them rhinestones, mint little rhinestones, and we're just going to put a little bit here and there. Just making sure now I put way too much glue because I couldn't see. But that's the great thing about multi-matte medium, is the fact that when it dries clear. It's not a glossy glue at all. That's why I love it, with the finer little bits and pieces. So that's card number 1. That's my fusion card challenge. The next card I'm going to do is I'm going to use up a couple more. I wanted to give you another one. I was always going to give you 3, but you got 2. I'm only a small channel and there's only, so much time in the day. So this is the extra bit of the little squares that we had. And I'm giving myself quite a fair bit of, for me, a little bit of border around my card. Usually I have way less border around my card. Okay, so we put that down. So I've got another strip from, it's the blue strip that I cut off that we didn't use for the last card. So this is still way too long because I've totally misread a little notches. So we'll trim that up a little bit more. There we go. That's better. So I'm going to go around this with the walnut stain again, and we are going to mount it up with a bit of a foam mount just through the center. This is going to give me room to slip little flowers and little bits and pieces in, like in underneath it. Just make sure that's in line with the top, and there we go. So we've got these little banners, I suppose they're called. So there's lots of them. I've got there's a couple with crowns, there's a couple with, I think, a clock, and we've got quite a few with numbers. So we're just going to pop those down for a little bit of just interest. This is the great thing about the little creative cuts. There are so many bits and pieces that you can just layer them up and add more texture and dimension. Now, totally ignore this. It looks horrible. It ain't going to stay. No. There we go. Now, this little tag sort of threw me because the red is upside down, but there is numbers and July on them, which go the other way. What I would probably do is next time rotate it around so the red is round the right way, but because in my head it stands out a little bit, but it's okay, it's fine. But yeah, there's both. I sort of had to pick which way I wanted this to go. We're going to layer this down with a little bit of foam tape on one side, on the right hand side, and a little bit of glue on the left. That's going to help us keep it just nice and flat. These are some of the creative cuts. So they are quite white. So again, we're going to rough those up with a little bit of the walnut stain. Just needs a little bit of support, and it's going to need a little bit of support on the flower very shortly. You'll see on the left hand side. So we've got the rose that's got a little bit of the foam mount, but the rest is going to be flat. So we'll just take that off. Again, same old thing, multi-matte medium, because as I said before, if it oozes out, it will dry clear, so I don't have a problem. The glue that I tend to use, the clear glue, it can be very messy. And if you don't like mess, it's not for you. But I like the wriggle time that liquid glue will give you. So we've got one of the little flags, little banners, I suppose you call them. And again, we're going to support him on the side. I am going to cover that 52, and you can see there it's just going to add a little bit of interest, and you don't even know it's 52, because you might go 52, why, what? This is a little butterfly that I trimmed out of the paper, and we're almost done with our cards. Now I will leave a link down below over to the Fusion Card Challenge if you would like to partake. I'd love to see your designs. I'll also leave a link over to my blog that will give you some close-up photos. Find me on social media. I am Natalie Perry Walsh on social media. So yeah, follow me and show me what you get up to. That's it. Just glue that all down. If you haven't yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button and the bell, and then you'll get notified. There's our 2 cards, and you can see here all the extra bits we've got left over. I hope you're well, take care, and I will talk to you next time. Bye bye.